The galaxy thought humans were dangerous because of their weapons. They were wrong. Humans are dangerous because they never forget who saved them, they remembered, even after centuries had passed, even as Earth rose into a technological superpower and its influence spread like wildfire through the stars, humans remembered the kindness of a dying race who once saved them from extinction. They were the Valari, an ancient, peaceful species with eyes like twin moons and voices that sang like rivers. When Earth first reached out to the galaxy, broken, war-ravaged, and starving, most civilizations ignored their desperate signals. Some mocked them, but the Valari answered. They sent food, medicine, knowledge, not as rulers, not for profit, simply because, as the Valari Chancellor once said, compassion is what makes a species worthy of the stars. The Valari had no army. They didn't need one. Their worlds were protected by treaties and trust. For centuries, that was enough, until the Dravari horde came. Pirates turned emperors. A species that believed only in dominance. They struck without warning, vaporizing Valari cities and enslaving survivors. They laughed when the Valari pleaded for peace. By the time the Galactic Council reacted, it was too late, but Earth had already heard, and humans had not forgotten. When news of the Valari genocide reached the Terran Assembly, President Aurora Miles stood before the United Systems Congress. The chamber was silent. 300 years ago, she said, her voice trembling with controlled fury, the Valari gave us life. Today, they ask for nothing, because they are no longer able to ask. She turned toward the cameras, addressing the stars themselves, but we will answer anyway. The first sign came at the edge of Dravari space. A Terran fleet emerged from the void, not sleek, not graceful, black armored hulls. Glowing red energy cores. Railguns longer than city blocks. No diplomats. No warnings, only one transmission: you hurt those who saved us. Now we repay our debt. In a single coordinated strike, 12 Dravari outposts ceased to exist. The galaxy gasped, the Dravari laughed. Humans fight like savages. One Dravari overlord sneered, they lack finesse. They lack strategy. He was assassinated 2 hours later, not by drone, not by orbital strike. A combat knife. To the throat, delivered by a Terran commando who infiltrated his palace on a fortified moon. The message was clear, nowhere was safe. Humans didn't negotiate once the line was crossed. They didn't bargain for territory, they didn't retreat, they targeted slave camps first. Liberating thousands of Valari survivors and other captured species, the rescued expected fear, brutality. Instead, they received food, blankets, translators, and silence. A Terran Marine handed a trembling Valari child a stuffed toy. She looked up at him, confused. Why? She whispered. His answer was simple: your people helped mine. It's our turn. The Dravari panicked. They launched counterattacks, sacrificing their own worlds to strike human colonies. Earth responded with calculated wrath. The siege of Riof lasted less than 20 minutes. Terran drop pods fell like meteors, punching through planetary shields. Entire battalions deployed in seconds, exosuits humming with power. Civilians were spared, soldiers were not. When Dravari High Command begged the Galactic Council for aid, most species remained silent. They had seen the footage: Terran medics crying over dead Valari children, scorched refugee camps, silent soldiers standing vigil. The galaxy, once mocking humanity's emotional nature, now feared it more than any fleet. 1 year later, the last Dravari fortress fell, not to nuclear fire, but to silence. Terran forces surrounded it and broadcast one final message: this is not vengeance. It is justice. Inside were records, centuries of trafficking, torture, conquest. Earth didn't classify the data, they streamed it live. The galaxy wept, the humans watched. In the ruins of the Valari capital, a statue was raised. A human soldier kneeling, offering a child a flower. Behind him, a Valari elder rested a hand on the soldier's shoulder. At its base, inscribed in every galactic language: a debt repaid. The galaxy never looked at humanity the same way again. They took no planets, claimed no resources. When the war ended, Earth's fleets returned home. But everyone remembered the fire in their eyes, the grief, the fury, the love, and the promise that if humanity ever calls you friend, they will bleed for you. But if you ever harm that friend, the galaxy will shake in fear.